Hello, folks. Welcome to the Primetime Movie Network. I am Primetime James Thomas coming at you with another video, a Halloween-related video, a video that I've been wanting to get into for quite a while now because Halloween fans have been hitting me up about this, wanting to know my thoughts on the comments of one Rob Zombie. But before we get started on that, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And of course, if you want to donate to the channel, PrimePod313 on the Cash App is the donation channel. And of course, if you want to check out all my videos and all the movie reviews, and of course, Primetime Gore Hunt episodes that we've done, all that is on this particular channel. Just last Sunday, I believe. Yeah, was it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday, me and Quez did the Purple Rain review. Tomorrow night, for the Primetime Gorehounds, me and Paul will be back for Maniac Cop. And it's quite funny because next week, well, not next week, but the next Primetime Gorehound episode we're going to be watching will be the 2007 version of Halloween, Rob Zombie's version. And I figured, what a time to talk about this particular subject right here. And Rob Zombie was just recently on the Howie Mandel podcast and discussing the nightmarish experiences that Rob Zombie had when he was directing Halloween 1 and 2. Now, Rob Zombie has discussed his experiences before. He did it on the Joe Rogan podcast where he discussed the hell that he had to go through when creating this film. And we're going to get into his comment in just a second. And I will say when it comes to the Rob Zombie films, the Rob Zombie Halloween films, first off, I will say, when it came out 2007, right, 17 years ago, which is crazy. I was in the 7th grade. The 7th grade when that movie came out. Well, no. I was going into the 7th grade, coming out of 6th grade. So this movie was actually one of the first Halloween movies I watched in the movie theater. And I remember at the time, people thought Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills was divisive. I remember, especially around that time, this was very divisive, especially Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Because Rob Zombie at that particular time was known for being a very gritty, grindhouse, in-your-face style, which some people feel does not really mesh well with the style of Halloween. Now, I have grown to enjoy Rob Zombie's Halloween. I don't hate it as many people do. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. I really enjoy the aspects of what Rob did when it came to the childhood version of Michael. But I do feel that they revealed too much. And I feel like they revealed so much that it kind of got to a point where you felt sorry for Michael Myers. Like, you felt sorry for the boogeyman. You know, when you look at his situation with his mom being a stripper, the only person that really truly loves him is his mom, who's a stripper. You have an abusive, I don't know if he was a stepdad or just simply just his mother's boyfriend. Very verbally, and you kind of get the implication, physically abusive stepfather. You got a sister who doesn't really give a shit, you know. You're bullied in school. He didn't have a chance. You know, Michael in Rob Zombie's Halloween film did not have a chance in hell to make it in society. Like, his environment made him what he was. And Rob went so deep into that backstory and went so deep into that bag, you kind of made Michael a sympathetic figure. And that's a dangerous game to play in a Halloween film because at the end of the day, Michael Myers is supposed to be the boogeyman. And he's supposed to be evil incarnate. And you can't sympathize with evil. And I thought that's where Rob he kind of did what he did with Devil's Rejects. So the way Devil's Rejects work is because you look at the Firefly family, despite the fact they're murderous psychopaths, but Rob shows us scenes in that movie that when they're not killing people or not act like psychos, they act like a normal family. So you kind of grew to like them. But then Rob would do a great moment where he switches back and be like, no, these are murder psychopaths. They deserve to die. And I still feel it was a stupid decision to have Wydell die the way he did in Devil's Rejects. That's a different story. Neither here or there. So that's why I feel Rob Zombie's Halloween, it could have worked as another film, just not a Halloween movie. Just not a Halloween movie. And where does that sound? Where does that sound familiar, folks? Sounds awful familiar. Halloween ends, does it? And then you go on to. Then you have the first half. Then that second half of Rob Zombie's Halloween, where it's a complete copy and paste of the '78 film, and that's where the studios really and Rob was really butting heads because according to Rob, that whole story about Michael's backstory in his childhood, that was going to be the movie. That was going to be a good chunk of the film, where the studios, the Weinsteins and Dimension Films, were breathing down Rob's neck about, no, this is what we want. We want it to be Michael Myers, stabbing, killing, all that stuff. And it's just been a constant studios and Rob button heads, completely button heads about what should be in the film, and it turned out to be a very nightmarish process for Rob, and it sucks because Rob loved the Halloween films. He loved the Halloween films. He was a fan of John Carpenter's version, and asked for John's blessing to do this film. Now, whether or not how genuine John was with his blessing, you never know with John, but he asked for John's blessing, and John said, go make it your own. And Rob did. However, it got so bad that John, because I remember back in 2008, around that time, when the talks of Halloween 2 was coming up, Rob Zombie was very adamant that he was not coming back. He was not coming back. But then all of a sudden we hear that Halloween 2 is announced and Rob Zombie's directing it again. And for the longest time, I'm like, why is he coming back? He said he wasn't coming back. Granted, Halloween 2007, at that time was the highest grossing Halloween film in the franchise for Halloween 2018. It was a big hit. Big hit. But we did not know, which Rob Zombie reveals in the podcast Howie Mandel, is that Rob was signed for a 3-picture deal. But because he hated his experiences with Halloween 2007, he was willing to jump on board for Halloween 2 just to get out of his contract because he didn't want to deal with any legal situations. Because he was adamant he was not going to come back. And apparently like 13 directors got fired, were chosen, but they got fired for Halloween 2. So Rob basically pretty much came back just by default. And he only did it just to get out of his contract. He only did Halloween 2 just to get out of his contract. And now when he says that, it now makes sense. Rob Zombie pretty much came in the Halloween 2 and his soul, his heart was not in it. It wasn't in it at all. And when you watch the film, it totally makes sense now. It honestly felt like the only time Rob was really truly trying was in the hospital sequence. In the first 30 minutes, when Michael's chasing Laurie throughout the hospital, that's the only time I felt like Rob was truly trying. After that, Rob was just doing random shit that didn't need to be in a Halloween film at all. And and look, folks, making movies is hard. It's very, very hard. And no director goes into a film wanting it to suck, right? Obviously, they want it to be good. But it's stuff like this when I hear Rob Zombie describing his experiences about him and the execs going, arguing, screaming back and forth, creating a pretty much toxic environment on the film crews of Halloween 1 and Halloween 2. It makes you completely understand why John Carpenter doesn't really want to direct movies anymore. I've always felt that John Carpenter, who's my favorite director of all time, he loves making films. He loves creating films. He just hates the business side of it. He just hates dealing with the assholes up top that comes meddling in the films, sticking their 2 cents, adding their own ideas into the film when they really shouldn't be. Like, let the filmmaker make the film, right? It makes the most logical sense. And it sucks because Rob has said that he's grown sour because of those experiences, that he literally hates the Halloween franchise. Like, he said that he hasn't even seen any of the new trilogy of the 2018 Kills the Ends. He hasn't even seen them. He's still so bitter about his experience. And it sucks, man, because no filmmaker should feel that way, where you have a passion for something, and because your experience was so bad, you wind up hating the project that you created. I think any filmmaker really should be proud of the work that they do. Now, this does not excuse Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 for sucking the way it did. Now, I will say Tyler Mane's portrayal as Michael Myers in Halloween 1, Halloween 2 was really good. Scout Taylor Compton, people give her shit about her portrayal as Laurie Strode. Granted, I prefer her performance in the first film or the second film, but I thought she was really good. Malcolm McDowell and Dr. Loomis I thought was solid. I thought the cast was not that bad. I thought the kid, Dave Farrick, I thought did a really effective job as young Michael Myers. I thought the cast was not bad. But I can understand why Rob feels that the Weinsteins and Dimension films were just too hands on. And say what you want to say about the Halloween trilogy, the David Gordon Green trilogy, but at least from what I've heard from Jamie Lee Curtis, James Jude Courtney, that at least that film crew felt more cohesive, seemed like it was more of a team effort. Between Halloween 2018, Kills and Ends, you didn't hear about it being no drama on set. It felt more like it was more of a fun atmosphere, nothing toxic. It felt more like a team effort. Otherwise, in the Rob Zombie films, where because I think you said the cast didn't know what they were going to do most of the time. Every day was just arguments between Rob, and the film crew and the higher ups and the film execs. It was just a mess. It was just a mess, man. And it's really sad and unfortunate that did happen to Rob. Again, not excusing how dog shit Halloween 2 was, but it definitely puts it more perspective on how things came to be, because especially when you now know Halloween 2, that Rob kind of Rob kind of went into Halloween 2 not really giving a fuck. And it makes perfect sense. Halloween 2, I thought if it wasn't a Halloween film, I thought it would be a very effective slasher film. Um, there were just some ideas that Rob threw in there that just did not belong in a Halloween film at all. White horses, talking to dead mothers, just didn't feel right. Just didn't feel right, and it's very unfortunate. And because how bad that movie was, we didn't get another Halloween film for almost a decade to like 9 years later. Hopefully, with Halloween Ends, we don't have to wait as long. And Danielle Harris and Brad Dourif was another positive of Halloween 2. They were my two favorite characters in Halloween 2, and Danielle Harris death seeing Halloween 2 still hits me. But hopefully, Danielle Harris will get to come back as Jamie Lloyd one more time. Of course, down the road, I think it just passed her 45th birthday, so she still has time. There's still plenty of time to have a Halloween film with Jamie Lloyd and hopefully Ellie Cornell Rachel if she wants to come back, and they finally get to put a bow on that little story. Hopefully, maybe. Um, but yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts on Rob Zombie and his experiences directing Halloween 1 and 2, and how nightmarish that whole thing was. Does this kind of make you look at Halloween 1 and 2, 2007, 2009 a little bit differently, or do you still think the movie sucks? Let me know you guys' thoughts. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good night. Peace.